Right, this is the school I went to. This is Actor Studio. This is the guy, that's James Lipton. That was my dean. This was a peer. So he was a peer of mine at the A.D.W.C, the new school. But this is what would happen. We would get shots of us with a class that kind of tape. So they bring movie stars in. He was a student, not him, but he was a student too, but that's James Lipton. He was a student, and then that's used in Silver Lining Playbook. So he was brought back to the school to talk about
his work in it, which is great. Owen Wilson and Chris Walken both have very distinct.
Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What's Owen saying?
Owen's like, Claire's mom made me feel her hoover.
Mimic. Okay, here's the thing. He was with Kemp. I was with Bob Lavelle. So during this interview, Bob Lavelle, acting coach, was still alive. He would die 3 years later. Kemp has actually passed away too. The one that's interviewing Cooper, James Lipton, died of bladder cancer 2.5 years ago. I think maybe almost 3 years ago. All of them were shown at the Actor Studio on 44th West, right across from Birdland. So 3 Days of Rain, I know a little bit about it. Julia Roberts was in it. Paul Rudd was actually doing a lot of Broadway around that time. It was Stell, but the story is an amazing story. It's in two different times. 3 Days of Rain is about, there's like two worlds they play in two different time periods. What I've heard when I read the synopsis. This was done at David Schimmel's Auditorium, something like that. It's at Pace University. That's not where I was. I was at the New School University, Actor Studio Drama School. And we did everything at the Tishman, and that's where they started. So they interviewed Johnny Depp there, Benicio. They moved over at Pace, closer to the World Trade Center, which is crazy, because we went through that. So that's Cooper. This is Hangover, but I wanted to talk about 3 Days of Rain. It's a Richard Greenberg play, 1997 is when it was released. He did it with Julia Roberts on Broadway. So eventually there's a character named Ned, a character named... oh man, I'm trying to go over the synopsis. There's a few characters that go into the studio. They have this complex, crazy plot that's going on. I don't know about the rain, if it's raining outside. I'm sure it probably is or something. I don't know. I think it sounds cool. What ends up happening is they find the dad's journal. They're in like some studio. They read the journal, which starts off as 1960. All of a sudden, the play goes into the journal. And it's these three characters. Julia Roberts, Bradley Cooper, and Paul Rudd played the three characters. But it's a Richard Greenberg play. And I don't know how often it's done. But they did it on, I believe, Broadway. Cooper would know. But he's interviewed. This is I don't know, this is some kind of YouTube. So I'll get this information. This is inside the Actor Studio, Bradley Cooper, okay? The Golden Era, okay? The reason why I mention it is because I went to the same school. So it was the Actor Studio Drama School at the New School University, which now everything's moved to Pace. This is very funny, though. This line right here. Going all the way to this dude. This is Hangover. This is what he's made him famous, big time. I remember when this came out. Regardless, what I was going to say was...
For you guys who
Lipton has actually passed away. He rests his soul. So, also Bob Lavelle, my teacher's passed away. And Kemp, who's in this, Kemp has passed away. And from what I've read, Bradley Cooper's father also has passed. That's him in Sex and the City, which we've done a vlog on that too. I think she used to call, Linda calls me a movie star, but I think she calls Bradley Cooper my boyfriend, which that's not true. That looks like Renee Zellweger. So I don't know. I guess she's in the audience. There were famous people. When I was there, I was one of the students. Ethan Hawke was there, and Uma Thurman was in the audience. I never saw her. Also, another time when someone else was being interviewed, there was like a lot of people that were interviewed. I showed the sheet on an earlier vlog. Wallace Shawn was there. I would have big time got his autograph. He was in Princess Bride. But he also has a horrible lisp as well. But that's him talking to De Niro about awakenings. And one thing I wanted to say real quick. De Niro goes from the eyebrow down the side of the face in Awakenings. It's a little longer of a gesture. He said he just touched his eyebrow, but I know he's being general because he's a writer. This guy's a writer. He wrote A Star is Born. The reason I'm saying that is because specific-wise, De Niro did that, and I don't know if he did it on purpose or if it was instinctual, showing the loss of control of the motor skill of the protagonist or the character in Awakenings, which was about a man that loses most of all his motor skill and goes into a catatonic state. It's a brilliant script. The script is almost written by like a doctor. Robin Williams is in it as well. Robin Williams' interview was more than 6 hours long, and James Lipton only spoke a few times. Here's Sean Penn. I was talking about him tonight. So I was talking about The Crossing Guard tonight. That's the director of The Crossing Guard and possibly one of the best directors that we have right now. He directed Into the Wild, Crossing Guard, and then Indian Runner as well. He's a very important director to watch if you ever get to watch a director that knows what he's doing. Anyway, this is a really good episode. There's Kemp. So she's passed away as well. She's no longer around. I did not have her as a teacher, but she was there. I don't remember seeing her. I was with Bob Lavelle's group, and Bob Lavelle's passed away as well. Just kind of going through a lot of it. He cries a few times. It's kind of upset. I'm trying to make sure that all this is there. This is a pretty good interview because he was a student. Cooper was a student, and then then he was invited back to be interviewed. Anyway, I recommend to see it. This is the channel that it's on right here, The Golden Era, and it is a full interview. So what that means is that it was a month ago when it was released. The Golden Era is the girl already subscribed to him. Instagram, and I guess the Actor Studio. And here's the thing about the Actor Studio people don't realize. In the 50s, they were also on television. I don't know how extensive it was, but they brought this show back around 1992, and it lasted a very long time. It won 8 Emmys. This guy won 8 Emmys. He's passed away now, but 8 Emmys. And it was a celebrated show in Los Angeles, too, because I lived in Long Beach and went to LA all the time. People talk about this show. I'd have to check on exactly when it switched over from Bravo to Ovation. And then this man used a thing called Pivo Proust questionnaire. It was things like, it asked general questions like, what's your favorite sound? Or what's your least favorite sound? There's a whole list of it. What occupation would you love to have rather than the one that you do? What occupation do you not want to have, I think in Saturday Night Live, Drew Barrymore, when Will Ferrell made fun of him, which we saw live too, they had when Billy Bob Thornton came, they had a special, and he made fun of Lipton. But they did this thing where Lipton was running around the sidewalk, and Billy Bob had a scope on him, like a sniper kind of thing. He had to get a pretzel, and he was running around. It was really funny. I don't know if you saw it. It was a Saturday Night Live thing. When Billy Bob came, it was like they were making fun of just him, and Will Ferrell was there, and Will Ferrell interviewed Lipton. It was like Lipton interviewing Lipton. It really happened. And it was basically like almost Saturday Night Live skit, only they were doing it to celebrate a certain time milestone that the show had hit. The 250th episode or something. I don't really know. It was like a certain amount of episodes. 50th episode or 100th episode or something like that. Regardless, Drew Barrymore went on Saturday Night Live and was interviewed by Will Ferrell again. And the occupation she did not want to have was shaving monkeys. But regardless, no one wants to shave monkeys. Cooper one's pretty good. The reason I'm looking at this is I'm studying competition. Actors compete. And I'm, trying to make some changes. I review these things because what it does is every actor has peers. Every actor has students. They all know famous people. And many actors have been interviewed by this genius. But he used Proust questionnaire to get to know thyself. The last question, and he was an open atheist supposedly, but secretly I think otherwise, because the last question was, if you were in heaven and you're at the pearly gates, what do you want God to say to you? Basically almost. And everyone has a thing. I think Cooper says, are you hungry? Everyone had the thing that they said, what do you imagine basically God saying to you at the pearly gates, come on in, all that kind of stuff. So you had an answer. I think Richard Gere, his favorite sound, because remember I talked to Richard Gere. Richard Gere's favorite sound was his wife breathing, the sound of his wife breathing. I think it's kind of nice to say. Richard Gere's a good actor. Richard Gere is very good. But every single one of them had it, so we could write those things down right then. You don't know how valuable that was to an actor in the industry, that you could just write down these things. You were like an immediate journalist. My journal was put into a storage unit right there in the downtown area of New York City in Manhattan. Pretty sure, and then I had to leave a lot of that storage stuff in the storage unit. But I did go back and got my computer. This is after September 11th. I stayed for the rest of that year and then left I left in, June, July, August, June, right before June. So I went through September 11th and stayed September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, and then left in the end of May, right before June. But I got there, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I got there in August, a month before September 11th, and then left in May. So almost the whole year, I guess you could say. I looked forward to staying that summer, but some things happened. I had to leave. I came back here and did some more study and stuff. Anyway, check this show out. If you're an actor and you don't watch this show, you're ridiculous. You got to watch this show. All right, guys. This is a theater that hosted 3 Days of Rain with Bradley Cooper. They had opened. James Lipton got to see this before he passed away, far before he passed away. But we're going to try at Bernard B. Jacobs. I looked at it. It's a historical theater. There's also other theaters that are connected to this theater. So I've been looking for theaters because I want to send it out to NYC. We're also going to try Manhattan Class Company because I saw Rebecca Gilman's play, The Glory of Living. I saw that there. That was directed by Philip Seymour Hoffman when Philip Seymour Hoffman was living. We've lost so much talent over the past decade. Even Philip Seymour Hoffman being one of them. And James Lipton and Bob Lavelle and Kemp, the teacher Kemp. But anyway, definitely sending it here to see what they say, and then also to MCC, Manhattan Class Club, and we'll start. We're going to be sending it to a lot of different places. This gives me an idea. This was a good play. The 3 Days of Rain, it was something that was good, so they may consider it. Is very different. It's very risque, so I don't know how far, but we'll see if it can get there, okay? That's what you can do with television. You can find information. This is funny, too, because Dave Chappelle interviewed Lipton back in the day. That series was great. You know what? If you're an actor, get the whole thing on DVDs if you could. I should have it. One of the things, when we graduated, we would get every single episode that was ever filmed. Back in the day, you go into James Lipton's office, he'd have bags of tapes that were in gift bags for the students, waiting to give them out for students that graduated or if they needed. He'd give them bags of tapes of his show all the freaking time. All right.